Hello, this is Vance, and this is Tuesday, September the 29th, 2015. These are the CL trades for today using the slow hand method for price action. Again, price opened in the overnight at 44.50, dropped to 44.30, 20 ticks off the open, and then made its way slowly up. So really overall, we had mostly an up day as far as oil prices were concerned. Topped out at 45.70. But not a really big range. I mean, we're talking, 120 ticks or so. And so it's not a really tremendously large range, and kind of the same range as we had yesterday, or the same movement that we had yesterday. But it was generally up. In the overnight, we had this price moved up, and really just before the open, we had this capitulation near the top of this channel that I drew from the overnight, first couple of swings up. And really the first trade was really a short from the top here. You think we're going to come back down. Now, there's not a lot of room to get to the bottom. And this is for 15 tick stop box, you can see. Just short at this area. It's a second entry short. First entry pullback, second entry short. Now, it's not a little bit of a bar here. As long as your stop was above here, if you limit it in, you've been all right. And you can see that there's room to get out. And you think that maybe it's going to be about here. And once it broke this area, you think it's going to retest to this area right here, which in fact it did. So I think it was worthwhile taking, particularly if you limit it in some place in this area, because you see this bar comes up and it pulls back and it tries to come up again and pulls back again. So somewhere, if you have your stop above the high, and this is the high of the day. So it's always kind of anytime you're at the high of the day, and the prices are going to continue to go up. But we had this capitulation here. You don't know it's going to come down this rapidly, but it did. And really, just before 9:30, we had really like this, it wasn't really a turnaround pattern. I thought that maybe because of the strength of this move that we had down from here, that and it didn't have this yet. It didn't have didn't have this thing here yet, because of course it hasn't confirmed anything. I mean, all I'm looking at this, and maybe it's going to be a range. So I'm thinking that once we had this first move down, we have this pullback to this area, and here's a second entry short. Now, I think that maybe we're going to go down, maybe retest the high or the open, and so that's a short. It's a second entry short. We break the channel. First entry fails. Second entry short. So I think we're going to maybe move down here. But as you can see, once it got to this area, once it got down to 44.71, it abruptly moved right out of here. So in that case, you think maybe this is just the exhaustion move. And so what I was looking at is that maybe the hesitation for this leg move is right where we had this, the slight pullback right here. Price pulls back down here and pulls back here, and then there's failure. So maybe this is the exhaustion of the second move, and this is just some residual, perhaps sellers trying to just take a lower. As you can see, that once it got to this bottom, we had a second entry long right here. First pullback this is just a little bit longer, but first pullback, second pullback down to here. Now, I marked this one in blue only because we can see this capitulation from the other side of the chart. So if we look at it from the perspective of, we have this capitulation. Let me just draw this in here quickly. You see this area right here, there's some hesitation in the overnight. I think it was close. Pardon me, that's not the wrong one. This one right here, hesitation in the overnight. You see this range, and so as price comes down to this area, you can see that if you look at the most touches right across here, it's a little bit lower. It was good enough to take from that perspective. And you can see this first pullback, second pullback down to here. Remember what I was talking about yesterday? The shorter time frame, these long spikes here, almost side by side. That's like, consider that like a second entry. So this one was all right. Now once we got this area here. Once it turned around, now you can put this line in like this, somewhere in that neighborhood, and then cross these tops. And that's what I did right to this area. So you put these across the tops, double it, move it down. Now, is this going to hold all the way up? Well, we didn't really have a confirmation. It's really only the first touch. We won't get confirmation until how price reacts to this line later on in the day. And so if that is in fact the case, it's going to come back and test right away. Here, when price moves up, we have this little tight channel, moves up here. This is just before 10 o'clock. We got a first pullback. Here's a second entry long right here. Now, I like this for the long side because we've got room to get out to where these tops are right here. I mean, just barely get room up. And if, in fact, we're looking at if price is moving to the other side of this channel, then in fact we've got quite a bit of room to get to this other side. You can see, that price moved up. Here's a first pullback, second entry long here. It goes into some capitulation, the overlap, and I talked about that yesterday. If it didn't really move right away, it would be maybe closing it out. So this is one of those cases. You might have gotten shaken out with this if you didn't hold on. I mean, your stop was below here, but you can see that when price did finally find, look at how many, if you add these all together, it's just one big, more of a positive bar than a negative bar. Looks like there's support here. You could take a tree, you could drop a limit order right here going long, or we wait for this is a breakout pullback long right here. Now, what I was looking for from both of these was a measured move. So we have let's call this the first pullback. Second pullback had you held on. You can see where did price fail. We had the measured move almost right to the other side of this channel. Now, where's the channel? It could be where the most touches is right around here. I mean, if you pull it down to here, where this, and of course you don't have this as of yet. But when price does get to this area, you have to look at maybe bailing out because maybe it's running into some exhaustion. So the second entry short is right here on this bar. Now, again, anytime that this is the high of the day, going short near the high of the day, it's always a riskier proposition because you don't know. I mean, are the buyers are still into the market, especially after the strong move up? But you can see it broke the channel, moved up, and then maybe you could look at selling it right here. Maybe an aggressive. It wouldn't be a bad trade as far as aggression, for an aggressive trader. But as you can see, it's stacked up around here. It did pull back again and then failed. Been more inclined to take a trade on this one. But again, do we have enough room to get out? Well, it's barely enough room. And considering that we traded up and into this range and then up out of this range, maybe we're going to go a little bit higher. And we didn't really test the other side of this channel, so you don't know whether or not to go long or to go short. We can see that here, however, when price got up to this area, here's a place that now it's revisited. You can see this. We had some resistance here. This is a little bit higher. But we had this capitulation across here. Price fell back down and then really hit resistance right here. Now, this is a second entry short off of here. Makes new low, first entry, second entry short. On this stronger looking bar, it's like a doji. It almost closes on its low. It would have worked out. It's already broken this channel. Didn't make quite a new. Well, it was a new high by about a tick, and then fell off. Your stop box would have been 15 ticks is right up here, very close to these highs. So there's reasons to go short, but I also see I marked it in green. Price gets down here. This is a second entry long. I marked this one in green, and it's a more aggressive trade because, again, I think that this is almost like exhaustion, but you don't know for sure if that's in fact the case. Pulls back. You can see there's a reason you can say that maybe this was exhaustion here. If you're going long, it hasn't really quite tested this area, but at least your 15 ticks is below where it looks like support. And you can see it really went into a channel right here. So on both of these sides, there's good reasons for going short at the tops and long near these bottoms. And we're within that range. You can see the hesitation down here. My reevaluation of this particular situation, I was looking at maybe this is the move here, and then when it kind of fills down here that we're going to have a movement of equal magnitude to this upside. So maybe the target should be on the other side. And see where it put us? So it would put us right at the other side of this channel right here. Okay. Now, again, by the time we reached about 130, it kind of ran out of steam. So it really kind of like a move. We had these two moves in here. The capitulation, and then a couple of these trades right along this way in conjunction with not only area of support across these tops, but more importantly from the bottom of this channel here. So price did try to move up, and then right at 1:45, we had this bit of a sell-off, and price kind of lost momentum. Second entry short right here. Got room to get out to these tops. You can see it hesitated a bit. And then when it got to these tops, it failed all the way down. Now look at again. You can see the hesitation when it got down to this area. We can pull this right across to here. You can see prices was hesitating, and then after the buyers just gave it up, and prices fallen further. So that's pretty much it. There was some pretty decent trades, I think, today. I mean, it exercised patience. Again, your key entry points are going to be areas like near the EMA, areas of support and resistance, and then after the exhaustion of measured moves or what we call continuation patterns. And what I mean by continuation pattern, if price or the commodity trades into the range, it's likely to trade up and out of that range. So you can see here the move moved up here. We traded in this range and then moved up and out of this range. Trades into this range here, and then moves up and out of this range. Not by much. It kind of ran out of gas because we're later in the day. This didn't quite hold in this case. Trades down into this range. This is a first test. And if it would have turned around here, you probably look at going short, but there was never a good setup. A decent setup here, second entry short, but as you can see, it couldn't get past these double tops. So that's why, here's a second entry short right here, and it was below this one, so that your target was a little bit was short of that, and of course you're thinking that we're going to be testing the other side of this channel. So there's some good reasons for taking these trades. The ones that are in green obviously are a little bit more aggressive trades, and maybe are a little harder to see. The blues and the reds are much more evident. The setups are a little bit clearer. But the other side of it is this, and I've mentioned this in the past as well, that trades that are your best trades that typically come up with setups that are pretty iffy. They don't really look that great, but they usually run the best. The perfect picture-perfect setup, they rarely work out as well as you think they are. Occasionally, it's less often. So you have to really, close is close enough. You have to be kind of close enough on these things in order to get on the right side of the trade. And quite frankly, I mean, you're not going to be right 100% of the time. So that's it. Hope this was helpful to you. If you have any other questions about things that I've talked about, please let me know. This is Vance. Bye for now.